Hi friends, welcome back or welcome if you're new here. My name is Stacy and I am the chapter conundrum. And in today's video, I'm going to go ahead and do the Would You Rather book tag, Impossible Edition, that my husband Jake created and tagged me in. I think he thought that I was going to have trouble and be wiffle waffling on a lot of these reading related questions, but I actually found most of them pretty straightforward and easy for me. So it'll be funny to talk about these with you guys. So the first question is, would you rather only be able to reread your favorite book once every 10 years or be able to reread it as much as you want, but be forced to reread your least favorite book once a year? And for this, I'm not much of a rereader already, so I'm definitely going with favorite once every 10 years and no sooner. I feel like when something is a favorite for me anyway, I remember it fairly well. So having that 10-year gap isn't necessarily a bad thing for me. It'll give me a chance to forget a few more things and enjoy the experience even more when I do get to pick it up. Question 2 is, would you rather have to get rid of all of your books by your favorite author, or would you rather have to get rid of all of your books besides your favorite author? And this for me, again, very obvious. I would say probably my favorite author that is a consistent favorite for me is Riley Sager, and libraries have his books. It's not that hard to replace or borrow his books. So I'm going to go with getting rid of my favorite author and relying on the library for that. I'm keeping the rest of these bad boys. So question 3 is, would you rather only be able to read really short books, so books under 300 pages, or really long books, books over 700 pages? And for this, I'm definitely going to be picking short books. I will take books under 300 pages. And my logic for this is that most books over 700 pages that I would want to read already are fantasy, which means they're part of series. And it's definitely a trend in a lot of fantasy series for books to get longer and longer as the series continues. So there are very few fantasy series I can think of where every installment in the series is over 700 pages. And for that reason, I feel like if I chose over 700 pages, I'd be skipping around in series, not being able to read every book in a series, and that would just frustrate me to no end. So I'm definitely going to stick to short books and go with anything under 300 pages on this one. Plus, I feel like I would get a more varied reading experience and not necessarily be stuck reading either like literary fiction, Stephen King's long horror books, or chunky fantasy. Question 4 is, would you rather your favorite series get a terrible adaptation or just never be adapted? And I'm gonna go ahead and say never be adapted. Just don't. If you're not gonna do it right, just don't. It will make me way more angry to see a bad adaptation than a canceled one. So question 5 is, would you rather an unfinished series you're reading never end or get a terrible ending? And this is one that I actually struggled with because there are some series I'm reading where every book ends on a massive cliffhanger, and even if I got a terrible ending to the series, I would at least hope that I would get answers to those cliffhangers. So in those instances, I would rather just have a terrible ending that at least resolves some of the questions I have. But in other cases where books aren't necessarily like that and things are mostly resolved within each book, I would definitely prefer it never end. I would rather wonder forever or just come up with my own headcanon for the ending. But either way, this is definitely a series specific question for me. Question 6 is, would you rather cut your reading time in half or your book buying budget in half? And I'm definitely going to go book buying budget here. No question. I can get by on the library and Everend so easily, especially because I also enjoy thrifting books or getting books used in used book sales. I already have a big collection, and once I read things, I'm not much of a rereader, so I'm likely to unhaul them at a place that gives me store credit, so I could use that to replenish my books. And also, a lot of the new books that I receive now are gifted to me, so book budget is not high on my priority list for sure. So question 7 is, would you rather be forced to listen to audiobooks at 3 times speed or 0.5 times speed, half time speed? And man, this would be awful either way, but I'm definitely going to go 3 times speed. I feel like my brain would get used to it after a while and I'd be able to enjoy the story and I would get through so many more books. Half time speed is just awful. Like, no thank you. I zone out when things are at 1 time speed, let alone half time speed. Like, I just cannot cope with that. I would never read audiobooks again. At least with 3 times speed, I could probably pick up some easier reads, like maybe some like middle grade or like a straightforward thriller or straightforward contemporary romance. And I could probably get enough of that on 3 times speed when I'm learning to cope with that speed that it would be okay. Like currently, I would listen to those types of books maybe at 2.5 anyways, so 3 isn't that much of a stretch. Question 8 is, would you rather only be able to read physical books or only be able to read audiobooks? And I'm definitely going to go audiobooks for this one. I'm not a huge physical book reader to start with. I'm already more of an audiobook reader. I think if I look at my stats, about 60 to 70% of my reading is on audio already. And there are just very few cases where I feel like I can't follow something properly on audio and I want a physical book. And in the cases of like fantasy novels, when they're really popular, you can easily just Google image search the map for the world, or you could ask a friend, hey, do you have this? Send me a picture of the map or whatever. And audiobooks more and more often these days are coming with PDFs where you can open them and look at all that stuff right in Audible. But then also you think about like, I wouldn't be able to do anything else while reading. Like currently I do so many other things while I'm reading. I'll do some housework or I'll walk my dog, you know, all those things I would never be able to read physically while doing. So I would just have way less reading time in general if I said physical only. Question 9 is, would you rather be stuck reading a mix of 3 and 4 star books or a mix of 1 and 5 star books? And I am definitely going 1 and 5s here. I feel like 3-star books are annoying because you just don't have strong feelings. Like I want to have a strong feeling about what I'm reading. And then 4-star books, after a while, I feel like it would get frustrating. Like I would get discouraged that I didn't love anything that I was reading and just want to stop reading. At least with a mix of 1 and 5s, you have something to say about the 1 stars that would lead to some interesting, funny rants, and you would still be finding new favorites. Also, I feel like you would get a better sense over time of like what would end up being a 1 versus a 5 for you. And you would just ultimately end up with so many more 5s than you would 1s. So I'm definitely going 1s and 5s with this one. Question 10 is, would you rather only be able to watch your all-time favorite booktuber or only watch every booktuber other than your all-time favorite? And this is also an easy answer for me, guys. I would pick my favorite booktuber all day. Mainly what I look for in booktube videos specifically is great recommendations and somebody who can tell me whether I'm going to enjoy a book or not based on how they talk about it. And my favorite booktuber, Becca in the Books, is really great at both of those things. It would absolutely suck to not be able to watch anyone else in the community's videos, but I do feel like I could still at least have an interesting friendship with them if I was to keep on top of community Discord chats. So I'm gonna stick it out and say only my favorite would be my pick. So lastly, I'm gonna go ahead and tag a few people to do this challenge. And I would like to tag Andrew at Andrew's Wizardly Reads, Ian at Ian the Reader, and Josephina at Fine Reads. I'm very curious to see what you 3 come up with for your reasoning behind these answers. And I feel like some of you will have a bit trickier of a time trying to make a decision on what would you rather. So it'll be interesting to hear your thought processes on those. So that was it for the tag. Let me know in the comments down below if you thought my reasoning for my picks was sound, if you just can't agree with my reasoning for something, if you're just a different type of reader. Let me know all that down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe on your way out if you want to. Have a great day. Bye.